Hello, people of the world, from everywhere around the world, from anywhere. So, here I am in this moment, and I'm going to be speaking, sharing. And one thing about me right now, in terms of wearing this shirt, is I have these shirts out here, and that I own that I don't really wear, but are pretty nice shirts, and this one actually feels pretty good. Has a nice feel to it, and there is something about wearing it that feels right for me, because I was in a situation where I have to describe myself to people, and I've been trying to find the words to describe myself, like a profile. And of course, you have to present yourself in a way for the system, but at the same time, it's also, for me, very naturally, I want to figure out, who I am in words that I can describe it to other people. And, there's lots of words that came up, and, it's always a challenge. But definitely one thing which is specific is the point of how, when I was like 18 or so, I always kind of felt like if I was 40 years old, I would be like at the right age for me. Now I'm, 10 years later, I'm 29 now. I just turned 29. And it does feel like that part of me, which I feel like I'm 50, in a certain way, in terms of that level of, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it per se, or why, but it's just what it feels like. Where I do have that sense of, when I'm 50, it's like I'm really mature, I suppose, really understanding about where I'm at, how I see things, how I understand things, understanding the age of things, the practicality of things, the very grounded, very, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't mind looking old, for sure. So I do have that part of me, and that's also why I see like wearing the shirt as well. It kind of helps me live that part as well, and I guess in a way, it does feel that kind of comfortableness to wear something like this. You could say that it assists and supports me in accessing that point and living it more vocally, more outwardly, in the moment. So I do have that part. I also have other parts as well, like when I have the part of me where I'm like a 7-year-old, like a kid, and that 7 years old is very specific. It's a very specific number for me, because I remember when I was 7 years old, I was like, yes, I love feeling 7 years old. This feels right. So maybe I have those two parts of me. Maybe I have two different beings. I don't know, or it's two different parts of me. I don't know. I'm a little bit split, but at the same time, it's very natural. Like if I'm gonna have fun, I want to go around singing around the house, or skipping, or playing a game, any kind of game. I want to play a prank, scare someone, or just run around into the field and laughing for no reason. Those are the kind of things I want to do, as for fun. And when I'm practical, I am here like this. When I'm 50, very looking deeply into things, looking into the plan of things, writing things out, imagining it, 3D, visualizing it, really structurally seeing all the steps, understanding the consequences. That's how I approach things. Obviously, I don't look like I'm 50, but I definitely feel like many people can relate to being able to ask themselves, what is my age really? What's my inner age? Who am I? What would feel right for my age? I definitely have seen a lot of people who it's regardless of what their age is, who they are on the inside is something different. Maybe it's a lot younger, maybe it's a lot older, but I see that a lot. I'm sure maybe you have as well. So age is very relative in that sense. There is that inner age, I suppose. That's one thing I wanted to share. Another thing was how it would be very interesting, because I was considering this, how to approach people in the internet in some public space. So I was looking at Reddit, because Reddit, you can post anything there. Maybe only one or two people will see it, maybe they'll like it, and then other people will see it, I don't know. But more the idea of, imagine if you had like 100,000 people, like I had that access, and I could ask them a question, like very simple question, just to like understand how other people are. And that question is, does your mind move automatically? Or do your thoughts move on their own independently of you, of your choice? Something like that, where it's going down to this, truth, fundamental truth, that our minds are moving on their own, that our emotions and feelings are moving on their own. But even just starting at where the thoughts are. Because when I was a kid, I was already shown that by my parents through Eckhart Tolle, which I suppose even for them, they didn't really fully comprehend the magnitude of it. And neither did I, even with Eckhart Tolle. It was only with Desteni at the age of 18 that I really understood fully how the extent of it. But even that one point, it's a very interesting question to ask someone. And what would they say? It's just very curious to really ask and see, well, what would people say? Are they going to say that, these are, like, are they going to say, what are you talking about here? I don't understand the question. I don't know, And I'm sure you're going to have some people who are going to answer, yeah, I mean, I don't know, for me at least, it felt kind of obvious. If you just take a moment, you can see that your thoughts are moving, on their own. At the same time, if you walk the process of working with your mind, then it's not so automatic anymore. But I mean, generally, the most people, like pretty much 100% of people, aren't working with that per se, I suppose. But it's just very interesting. It's very interesting for someone to be having thoughts about things, and then read something about that, and seeing how the mind responds to that. And I guess the main curiosity is whether that would even support someone to see, that the mind is moving. So that was a curious thing. I did post a question there. Probably one person or two persons going to see that. They're going to like it or not. They're going to upvote it or not. They're going to respond or not. But it's still very interesting, at least, Because for me, when I started with Desteni, I was simultaneously studying psychology and philosophy. So I already had that interest and gear set to really understand the mind very scientifically, very specifically, very systematically, to see it as a machine. And it is a machine. It does act in very systematic and predictable ways, though it is highly complex. It is highly complex, so when you start walking a process to understand the mind, you're working on the first layers, which are very simple and very basic. So there it's simple. When you go deeper, it's more complex, but all of this is the mind, and it does have that simplicity, complexity.